Thank you all so much for being here. Means a lot to me. Give yourselves a round of applause. Hello, freedom fighters! Just another 2 weeks. Just another 2 weeks. Just another 2 weeks. Lie after lie after lie. I'm surprised Kenney's pants are not bursting into flames. It is very evident to those paying attention that this disaster has no end. We are entering the height of cold and flu season, but colds and flus don't exist anymore. It's all COVID. Returning kids to schools is pointless. Within 2 weeks, they'll be closing the schools again and probably instituting a pointless curfew on top of it like they did in Quebec. I wish Kenney had just closed my business outright, then at least I would qualify for some of this free government money. But they've left my business open and chased away all the customers with fear. This is terrorism. Terrorism enacted by our very own elected government. Completely unjustified fear-mongering. The vast majority of COVID deaths are in folks who have already surpassed the average Canadian life expectancy. They are forcing us to sacrifice our lives and our children's lives and futures to buy seriously ill elderly people another 6 months of life. This is not a rational sacrifice. This is pure emotional manipulation. If I were 82 years old, I would rather take my chances with COVID and still be able to visit with family than to be locked away, wasting away in some lonely facility surrounded by people in plastic suits. This is inhumane not only to them, but to all of society, and all justified by Kenney's lies. The PCR test is a fraud. Jason Kenney admitted as much. He admits that there are false positives, but they don't matter. Well, Mr. Kenney, when you make decisions based on those case numbers and use them to terrorize the citizenry, then those false positives do matter. You have closed businesses, schools, and churches based on these case numbers. You have banned us from socializing, period, based on these case numbers. You have canceled life-saving surgeries based on these fraudulent numbers. You are killing people with fraudulent numbers, Jason Kenney. Every day, people are taking their lives due to the despair created by Kenney and his cronies. Children are going hungry. Domestic violence is on the rise. But Kenney wants to buy Grandma another 6 months, or so he says. He claims these decisions are actually based on hospital and ICU admissions, not the fraudulent case numbers. Yet hospitals remain at roughly 15% capacity. It has been reported that over 50% of Canadians disregarded the rules for Christmas, including Kenney's own chief of staff and cabinet ministers. By Kenney's logic, the hospitals should be full next week. But they won't be. And even if they were, it would be perfectly normal in flu season. I propose a simple solution, that Kenney and all of his minions go without pay until this crisis ends. These restrictions placed on businesses are worse than being forced closed. If they were forced to close, at least they would qualify for some support. Maybe. Instead, they are open, but with no customers. Clever, Mr. Kenney. Very clever. Such a politician you are, Kenney. Absolutely brilliant maneuvering. Except that nobody is buying it anymore! None of these restrictions have proven to be effective. Social distancing hasn't done anything. Masks have only made things worse. The vaccine is a hoax by their own words. It is useless and potentially more hazardous than COVID itself. Closing businesses that were not spreading the virus anyways is futile. Respiratory diseases will not be stopped by any measures, and certainly not these ones. How can flying on a plane be safe, yet church is unsafe? How can Costco be safe, but having a guest in your home is dangerous? How can NHL players be safe, but pond hockey is dangerous? You can ride a bus with complete strangers, but heaven forbid you have a non-family member in your own vehicle. This is stupidity to the extreme, and Kenney expects us to believe his lies. Have you had enough yet? This will not end until Kenney is stripped of power. He will be stripped of his power when we, the people, stop listening to his lies. When the people burn their masks, when the people visit their families and friends, when the people open up their businesses and churches in defiance, then this will end. The people need to defy these unconstitutional edicts at every opportunity. Open your businesses. Take their stupid tickets. If these clowns write 1 million tickets, the court system will crumble under the strain. We must stand in defiance of this tyranny. So some tips for today. Have a buddy. So when we go marching, I want everybody to pick someone that they're going to stay with. Ideally, I would like you to make sure that that person gets to their vehicle. Return insults with love and kindness. Do not escalate any situation. Please keep all language family friendly. Stay away from the counter-protesters and do not engage them, unless it works.
It works.
Please, okay, now this is a big one from EPS. EPS has been so good to us, guys. And it's because we respect them and we respect the rules. So when we are marching today, please obey the crossing signals. When you see the blinking light, you stop. We're going to have a few marshals along the way. If someone tells you to not go through the intersection, please listen. We don't want to be seen to be holding up traffic, and we don't want to make people angrier than they already are. All tickets from police will be accepted with grace and dignity and fought later in a court of law. If you say anything nasty to the police, they are going to be writing every word of it down, and the judge will be reading it. So we have a pretty good chance of beating these tickets in court. Let's not make it worse for ourselves. Just take the ticket and be along your way. If anything goes down on the march, which I don't think it will today, I think they learned their lesson last time, film everything. Your camera is one of our most powerful tools. So if you see anything go down, if you see any weirdness in the crowd here today, just pull out your phone and start filming. And other than that, have an awesome day!
Do you accept the new normal? Louder! Do you accept the new normal?